You've been hurt, and you think you're just trying to protect yourself. But what if that very defense is hurting someone else? In this video, we'll face an uncomfortable truth. Sometimes the one who has been hurt becomes the one who causes pain. Have you ever asked yourself, could I have unintentionally hurt someone without realizing it? We often think about pain from others, being left behind or betrayed. But there's a truth few want to face. Sometimes we ourselves become the ones who hurt those we love the most. When pain becomes too big a part of our lives, we start using that very defense to protect ourselves, to avoid getting hurt again. But do you know? Sometimes that defense becomes a weapon of harm. A careless word, a cold action, or even prolonged silence. These things can make someone feel abandoned, isolated, even if you never meant to. In this video, we'll take a moment to reflect on actions that may unintentionally hurt others without us realizing it. Are you unknowingly recreating old wounds in your relationships? Take a moment to ask yourself and learn how to forgive yourself when you realize that you're not just a victim of pain, but sometimes also the one who creates scars in someone else's heart. We often see ourselves as a victim in relationships. We think we are the ones who've been hurt, betrayed, left alone in the toughest moments. But have you ever stopped to ask yourself, could I be unintentionally causing harm to someone else? Are your unconscious actions, the times you withdraw, stay silent, or control, hurting the one who loves you the most, without you even knowing? Think about the times when you pull away from a conversation, leave problems unresolved, and let the silence stretch on. Is that your way of protecting yourself from getting hurt again? Or have you forgotten that silence can be a powerful weapon? And sometimes that very silence can hurt someone more than words ever could. When you avoid facing the issue, you're not just running away from it. You're making the other person feel unworthy of your attention, affection, or understanding. They feel left behind, as though they no longer matter in your life. You may not realize you're doing this, but silence can leave deep wounds. When the other person tries to reach out, but you just stay silent, they begin to wonder, what did I do wrong? That feeling will lead them to frustration and hurt, because they can't understand why you no longer seem to care about the relationship the way you once did. Similarly, there are times when you unintentionally use anger to protect yourself. You might think that showing anger means you won't get hurt anymore. But when you unload your anger onto someone who loves you, you're not just attacking them with sharp words. You're suffocating them in the relationship. Uncontrolled anger isn't just a reaction to your own pain. It's a way of indirectly creating pain for someone else. The words you speak in anger, even if it's just a scolding or a biting joke, can leave a wound in their heart that's hard for them to heal. Do you realize that you may not be the only one suffering in this relationship? Your partner is also carrying wounds that you might not even be aware of. The careless words, cold actions, and even lack of attention can hurt them far deeper than you think. When you don't care about their feelings, they feel isolated, abandoned, and humiliated in the relationship. Realizing that you're not just a victim, but also the one who can cause harm, is incredibly difficult. It's a truth that's hard to accept. But when you begin to face yourself, you'll discover something important. The past pain you carry has affected how you treat others. You've been so used to protecting yourself that you didn't recognize the pain you were unintentionally inflicting on others. But once you become aware of this, it's the first step toward change. Self-awareness is a painful process, but it's the only process of healing. To heal, you must confront your own behaviors, not just as someone who's been hurt, but also as someone who has caused scars in others. You may not remember the words, the actions, but the other person surely does. And those wounds will haunt them unless you have the courage to face them and make amends. Self-awareness doesn't just help you recognize your mistakes. It helps you realize that change is possible. Every time you recognize your behavior and choose to act differently, you are healing both yourself and the relationship. Forgiveness isn't just about forgiving others. It's about forgiving yourself for realizing that you're not perfect. and that you've hurt others too. That realization is truly painful, but it's the only way to step out of the cycle of suffering and begin rebuilding connection. When you realize you've hurt someone, you'll feel a deep pain, but don't let that pain drive you into silence or create more distance. Instead, face that pain and learn to heal. What matters is that you take action, not just to fix the mistakes of the past, but to stop repeating them in the future. One of the first ways to do this is to truly listen. Listening to someone isn't just hearing their words, but feeling their emotions, understanding their pain without judgment. When you give them the opportunity to express themselves, you show them respect and love. True listening not only helps you understand them, but it also makes them feel valued. This is a first step in rebuilding trust. Next, you must learn to show care and love actively, not just with words, but through actions. A hug, a gentle word, or simply a thoughtful message can make the other person feel they're not alone, that they haven't been abandoned. Love is action, not just feeling, and these acts will help heal the wounds in your relationship. Finally, forgiveness is the next step. Forgiving yourself and others isn't easy, but it's the key to moving forward in a healthy relationship. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It means accepting the hurt and learning how to not let it control you anymore. When you forgive, you're not just freeing yourself from pain, but you're also creating the space for your relationship to heal and grow stronger. When you begin the journey of facing yourself and realize that you are not just a victim of hurt, but also someone who has caused pain to others, you'll feel a great sense of imbalance. It's a feeling that's both relieving and heavy. You've seen the truth, and now you must learn how to handle these emotions. But there's one thing you need to understand. The healing journey is not a quick one, but a slow, patient process that takes courage. When you realize that your unconscious actions have hurt others, the next step is to find ways to repair and learn how to love yourself again. This doesn't mean you have to undo everything or become perfect right away. The healing process doesn't require you to be flawless, but to be someone who can learn from their mistakes and change for personal growth. Right now, you may feel a great emptiness inside. This emptiness is not a loss, but an opportunity to rebuild yourself. When you forgive others, you're not just releasing them from your anger, but more importantly, you're freeing yourself from the grip of the past. Forgiveness isn't about accepting what happened. It's about choosing not to let the past continue controlling your actions and emotions. Forgiving yourself is one of the hardest steps in this process. You'll feel you don't deserve forgiveness, especially when the wounds you've caused are so deep. But remember, no one is perfect. Everyone has mistakes, moments of weakness they're not proud of. What matters is that you recognize your mistakes, learn from them, and decide to act differently in the future. As you begin to change your behaviors and the way you treat others, something miraculous will happen. You'll start to feel a true connection with those around you. When you stop trying to control, stop avoiding responsibility, stop using anger as self-defense, you'll feel the peace you've been searching for all along. You may not receive forgiveness from the other person right away. They may still be hurting, still angry, and that's something you can't control. But what you can control is how you face yourself and act to repair the relationship. This action, even if small, is a first step toward reconciliation and healing. Don't let the fear of not being forgiven stop you from changing. Start with yourself by learning to love and respect who you are. When you truly do this, you'll see a significant change not only in how you treat others, but also in how you perceive yourself. When you begin to face yourself and realize that you are not only a victim of hurt, but also someone who can cause harm to others, it is an incredibly painful yet meaningful process. This truth is not easy to accept, but it is a first step in the healing journey. Realizing that you may have unintentionally hurt others, especially when your actions stem not from malice, but from unresolved pain, helps you understand yourself better and the impact you have on those around you. The first important lesson is self-awareness and responsibility. When you recognize that you're not just the one who's been hurt, but also the one who has caused hurt, you understand that the painful past must be healed. not only within you, but may also affect your relationships with others. This realization helps you not only recognize your mistakes, but also develop the ability to change. Forgiveness is not just for others, but for yourself as well, because you understand that no one is perfect and everyone makes mistakes. The second lesson is facing the truth and making amends. Once you face the reality that you've caused harm, the next step is to change your behavior and find ways to repair the damage. Silence, anger, or control may sometimes be your way of protecting yourself from further hurt. But if you don't recognize this, you might unintentionally hurt those who love you the most. To heal, you need to learn to listen, show concern, and express love, not only through words, but through concrete actions. Finally, the most important lesson is forgiveness and letting go. Forgiving yourself and others is not easy, but it's the only way to free yourself from pain and rebuild relationships. When you forgive, you not only allow yourself to move beyond the past, but also create space for growth and genuine connection. Forgiveness isn't about forgetting. It's about accepting that hurt is part of the growth process and learning to not let it control your life anymore. These lessons not only help you heal yourself, but also rebuild relationships, leading you to a happier and more fulfilling life. Thank you for watching until the end of the video. If you felt that this video touched your heart, please leave a comment and share your thoughts. You may have gone through similar pain, or simply be on a journey of learning and change. Don't hesitate. Every story you share matters and can help others find light in the darkness. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you won't miss new videos on emotional healing. Please share this video with anyone you think might need a message about forgiveness and self-awareness. You are not alone in this journey. We can heal together.